miss or program or some resources that have been made available. And so when you are connected to the chamber, you find out consistently all the information that you need to know. And this is very important.
Okay, and for women entrepreneurs, you really target them specifically.
Yeah, with the Women's League. And so we've seen, with Black women entrepreneurs, an increase of 50% between 2014 and 2019, as we know that great resignation. So Black women were saying, I'm in this corporate space, but I know there's something bigger for me. And so let me try entrepreneurship. And I, being an entrepreneur myself, I totally understand that journey. And so when they come to the Atlanta Black Chambers, we have a women's league devoted to our Black women entrepreneurs. We want them to scale and have profitable, sustainable, competitive businesses. Because the reality is with Black women-owned businesses, right now their average revenue is $24,000 a year. That is not enough to sustain yourself. Where the average woman-owned business is $142,000 a year.
Wow.
So there's a really big gap. And our goal is we want our Black women entrepreneurs to get out of that solopreneur mindset and to think enterprise.
Okay, so you guys have events coming up that can help all business owners, right? Can you talk about those?
All right, so we're going to stop that piece here, and then we've just got another one to play, just going back into memory lane for you. So here we go.
Well, the mission to Colombia.
Not that one, but we'll just do another one. So for those of you.
Oh, it's been a beautiful day. I think just having the opportunity to hear and listen to some of the officials that have shared both opportunities that are here in Zim from Zeta, hearing from the ambassador. It is very encouraging. And so I think we move forward with more confidence on the opportunities that lies here on the ground. I think for us, we are a part of the Atlanta Black Chambers. And so it's important that our mission, which is to connect opportunities from around the world in trade, partnership, and investment. And so how do we do that with Zimbabwe? And so we're on the ground. We have a couple of opportunities that we are currently working on. But of course, we are here by ourselves and not for ourselves, as we represent a larger network of businesses. So we want to understand the opportunities, the other opportunities that exist, whether they be real estate, whether they be technology, whether they be mining, energy, whether they be manufacturing, trade, agriculture, transportation. We've got a number of sector leaders that we've appointed within Atlanta that are responsible for looking at those projects to see how best we can participate, how best we can actually help. So we're keen on learning about those things. We're keen on finding solutions to ensure that we can both have a mutually beneficial economic relationship. I think a big part of it is awareness. We oftentimes are not aware of what is actually happening outside of the US. And so intentionally promoting our businesses could really help to solve some of the challenges. Because sometimes it's just that we don't know. Like, we don't know that you have these opportunities, or we don't know that we can do business with you. So we've got to do a better job of promoting each other. One thing that we do in the Global Opportunities Committee of the Atlanta Black Chamber is that we focus on how do we promote Black businesses. And so being a part of our community, being a part of our network allows us to promote each other, because it's only through the promotion of our capabilities, the promotion of our strength, that we will be able to circulate that message throughout the network to see that there are opportunities. Zimbabwe is open for business, and so is Atlanta, and so is the Chamber, so is the Global Opportunities Division.
All right, fantastic. Well, good morning again, everyone. Thanks for jumping in. My name is Ricardo Beris. I'm chairman of the Global Opportunities Committee of the Atlanta Black Chamber. You already heard about the Atlanta Black Chamber, and you've heard a little bit about the Global Opportunities, where we focus on opportunities around the world for our members within trade, within partnership and investment. So thank you for joining in here. Just wanted to welcome some of our guests. I know or guests from Zimbabwe. So you heard that we're going to be here. So we've always gotten great support from our Zim folks. They're all here in the house. So welcome to everyone. And for those of you who are on the continent, it's also good afternoon to you as well. We're going to get started, and this power hour, we always say in our power hour, the hour shall come, and the power continues though. So please make sure you grab a pen or a paper, grab some place where you can get notes, because you're going to be getting some stuff to take away to help you to grow, to help you to build, and to continue to be successful. Every Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. we gather here to learn, we gather here to share, and we gather here to really also help each other. So feel free to put your information into the chat. Feel free to introduce yourself. Feel free to get connected. It will be a shame that you leave this conversation without at least having one connection, or at least having another person that you can build a relationship with. So go ahead and actually do that. So we're going to get started. We have, as a Global Opportunities Committee, been developing a community of people around the world on the ground. There are eyes, ears, and boots on the ground for us to really help us to understand what are the opportunities that exist for our people. What are the opportunities that exist for small business, for medium business? What are the opportunities that exist for global-minded and growth-minded businesses in every single corner of the earth where we can be successful? And Zimbabwe is no exception. And we have a regional lead for Zimbabwe. We call them regional leads. You may call them ambassadors, same thing. But we do have a regional lead for Zimbabwe. And her name is Barbara, and she has been very, very instrumental in bringing all of you together today. And she's got some special guests that she's going to be introducing us to. But I'm going to bring her up right now to introduce herself, to talk a little bit about what is it that she does. And obviously the energy she has. She's Zimbabwean, just so you know, but the energy that she has and how bullish she is on Zimbabwe as a nation to both invest in and to do business. So Barbara, why don't you come on up and tell us a little bit about yourself? Tell us a little bit about some other folks as well that we're going to meet, and we'll allow them to introduce themselves as well.
Okay. Sounds good. I am so excited. This is amazing. My name is Barbara Chakanyuka, based here in the U.S. I'm also the regional lead for the GOC, an exciting group, part of the ABC. We are members of the Atlanta Black Chamber. And so we did a trip to Southern Africa, and it was just phenomenal. It was just a humbling experience. I do want to acknowledge you, J.W. Oliver. Yay, one of our guests, he just joined. So I want to make sure that I acknowledge you. So my business is called the Biz Global Group. What we typically do is we screen, we vet, we match businesses from Zimbabwe and the continent in general to investors here in the US. And I'm going to put my information in the chat right here soon, just to make sure that we get that connection where I have that understanding of having lived here in the US for almost 24 years and also being a native of Zimbabwe. I go home on a constant and just getting that feedback of what is needed in the space of business. So I'm excited today to introduce our very Minister Council of Tourism with the Embassy of the Republic of Zimbabwe, based here in Washington, D.C., Ms. Ropafadzo Dunira. And she will speak about herself a little bit. And then also I'm going to introduce J.W. Oliver, who is an American but invested in Zimbabwe. So you kind of like have the powerhouses here. And I'm also acknowledging Jonah Mushai, who is also a counselor at the Zimbabwe Embassy here in the US, to talk about, especially if people have questions around the mining, the industry, he's going to be here to give that feedback. So woot woot to Zimbabwe. Yay, Zimbabwe in the house. Thank you for showing up, everyone. Woohoo!
Awesome. So Ropa, why don't we start with you, and you can go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us about your portfolio and talk a little bit about why Barbara is so excited about Zimbabwe, and why the folks here should really consider Zimbabwe as part of their portfolio.
Thank you so much, Ricardo, and thank you so much, Barbara. Thank you, everyone who have joined on this platform. My name is Ropafadzo Dunira, and I'm the Minister Councillor responsible for tourism, based at the Embassy of the Republic of Zimbabwe here in Washington, D.C. And I'm here to talk about Zimbabwe, the investment opportunities that lie into Zimbabwe, why people can invest, and why you should invest in Zimbabwe. So I'm really so excited about this time. There's so much investment investment opportunities in our country that you should look forward to. And as the government of Zimbabwe, there are also competitive investment incentives that have been put in place to support the opportunities that we have. So thank you so much. I look forward to sharing with you soon.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Ropa. And Barbara, you brought another guest, J.W. Oliver. It's good to see you, Jay. Welcome, welcome again. I know you've been busy changing the world, and we always applaud and commend you. Why don't you go ahead and unmute yourself? Tell us a little bit. Tell the folks who you are. Tell us a little bit about the things that you're actually doing and why Zim is so important in the mix.
Well, first of all, I'm just trying to be as excited as Barbara is. Just I got to get up there and try to meet that level. That was pretty amazing. So yeah, we've been operating in Zimbabwe since 2017. Started off as a ministry. We wanted to see if we could help with the employment, having a high unemployment rate. We knew we could make an impact. And if you don't know anything about Zimbabwe, literally out of all the countries, I believe it's 54 countries in Africa, they are at the top in terms of education level and in terms of their ability to just be professional. And it's just completely different level. We're in 3 locations. We're in Zambia, Zimbabwe, as well as Costa Rica. And Zimbabwe is definitely near and dear to my heart. It's where we started. But just the level of acumen that they have there. And she was talking about tourism. I get excited every time I go. I've been all over there. I've been to Vic Falls and Wenge and Manapools and obviously Harare. So Zimbabwe has so much to offer, number one. But what we did is we saw that the greatest resource in Zimbabwe is not the minerals in the ground, it's the people on the ground. And I'm very passionate about that, knowing that we have such amazing team members. Again, we started in 2017. I remember in March of 2018, I was there and we had exactly 9 people that were employed with our team there. Today, literally this month, we just went over 1,300. So we now have 1,300 team members who are gainfully employed in the country that are making an impact. So we see the opportunity. It's not without its challenges. I always tell people it's not without its challenges, but it's not without its challenges for me to open up in Costa Rica or Zambia or any other place that we've done it as well. So having good support people in country, as well as having the backing of the Atlanta Black Chamber is big. Zeta is big. And also, I've gotten to know the Ambassador Tremont quite well. She's going to be an amazing asset to those types of relationships as well. I see some of the members of the embassy are on here today, and we found it just a great place to dive in and make an impact. So we're excited to be here. Ricardo, thanks for inviting me on as well.
No, absolutely. Thanks for sharing. Wow, 1,300. Well, congratulations. Now tell us exactly what you do and how do you manage to have 1,300 people?
Oh, I didn't do that.
Yeah,
I forgot that
so
part.
let's tell the folks what it is that you do and how you've been able to recruit 1,300 folks to work with ZimWorks.
Yeah, so we started off that again as a ministry. We wanted to put people to work. We're a little bit different. We actually donate 51% of our profits back to basically Christian ministries around the world. We try to invest in not only in Africa and Zim and Zambia, but ministries around the world. But we saw the opportunity to take this talented pool of teams and primarily into the healthcare space. But we're doing things in healthcare. We're doing things in the legal profession, helping with marketing companies when they need support. And so what it is we have remote virtual teams. I hate the word outsourcing. We are not an outsourcing company. We are an insourcing company because we feel and we know that we're going to place people inside of your business who are going to have a major effect on your business. So again, when we talk about our business, we partner. We love the term partners. We don't want to be a vendor. We want to be a partner with our clients. And we've also created quite I'm going to use the term Googlish, if that's a word. I have to Google that one myself. I have to Google the word Googlish and make sure that it's appropriate. But we do a lot of things with our teams. We have our CFO, who is our Chief Fun Officer. we make sure that we're also trying to make our work enjoyment. So we do all types of games, all types of things in our offices, as well as creating a little community within our own space. Most of our team members are working from 3 p.m. to midnight. We also provide transportation home in the evenings. We have our own coffee shop called The Grind. It would rival a Starbucks in our office just for our teams so that they can have some enjoyment as well. So yeah, so we provide remote virtual teams to businesses in the U.S., Canada, and the U.K. And primarily the majority that's going to be in the U.S. as well.
Oh wow, that's fantastic. And I've got to say, I along with a couple of our members have witnessed just the operation in real time, in person, and just see all the amazing folks and everybody. It felt like home. Everybody is happy. Everybody's just moving around with this level of enthusiasm and confidence when you go into Zim. We'll come right back to you, Jay, because we'd like to talk a little bit about some of those challenges. I don't know if you can get to 1,300 people without its fair challenges, and we want to be able to hear some of those. But Barbara, let's go to you and talk a little bit about what it is that you're doing. You just said earlier that you're involved in matching investors with the opportunities around in Zim, not just Zim, but let's focus on Zim a little bit and talk a little bit about how you've been able to actually do that. Like, who are some of the folks that you actually work with? What are some of the opportunities that you bring to them in terms of their interest in Zim?
Thank you, Ricardo. I just want to acknowledge one other person here who actually introduced me to a JW, because JW is also the CEO for the American Chamber in Zimbabwe. Ivy Shamu, just show your face and wave. So back to your question, for me, being a native of Zimbabwe, obviously home is always at heart, right? And having the experience working here in the US and also being a member of the Atlanta Black Chamber, I can guarantee you that for me, my journey actually began with the Atlanta Black Chamber, seeing the support that I got there and being a member of the GOC and having a leadership that we have within the GOC with Ricardo leading that space really opened up my eyes to many opportunities that I could leverage between being a citizen of both countries, right? So what I did was setting up Biz Global was to really say, let's look at what's going on the markets, from the ground. Being a native, as much as I'm a native, but I'm also disconnected from the economics of the day, right, that are constantly changing. So I had to make sure that I was established in terms of making sure that Biz Global is actually on the ground in Zimbabwe. So I do have a small team in Zimbabwe that does the recruitment of what businesses they are out there, right? What are they doing? What do we need? And at the same time, I also went on to do a process of seeking out, focused investors. So I also have a team of investment groups that I work with who actually will ask to say, we want to go into mining. We want to go into energy. Energy is a big thing right now, so it's massive. It has been, but now there's this push for a lot of investors wanting to be part of that investment space. So that's how I do it. So I typically will screen just to make sure that, the regulations are definitely done well. And we're also making sure the team on the ground are actually helping those businesses to put together their projects. And then we also coach in terms of how to present and pitch their businesses and before we even present them to investors. So that has been my process, really building relationships. And there are times when I don't even charge clients just to get to know them, right? And also really bridging the cultural gap that also sometimes exists in business, and we sometimes don't realize that. Sometimes the way we do business, it might be the same, but we have to make sure that it's relative to the environment. So it allows me also to be in that space of educating people on how business is done in the US, and also in educating investors on how business is done in Zimbabwe and which branches of government should we interact with to make sure that we are aligning with what policy says about establishing ourselves in Zimbabwe.
Oh, wow, thank you. And that's great work. And thanks for giving to the community in that regards and prepping folks to be able to do business with each other. Ropa, I want to come to you because, you are involved in tourism, and we know that, you know, to do business on the ground. I would love to hear from Jay when what his experience was the first time he touched down in Harare. I could tell you our first time when we touched down there, and that's tourism. What you see and the, you know, the people and the things that you are around, that's a big part of what attracts people into the environment. Talk a little bit about the work that you're doing within the tourism space, and essentially how we can really be a part of all of that.
Okay, thank you, Ricardo, and thank you, everyone else. My being here is because America is a major source market for Zimbabwe. We've realized so many tourists coming from the Americas into Zimbabwe. And for Zimbabwe as a tourist destination, it's a premier destination, a must visit. And probably I would just wanted to give you just a background of what is Zimbabwe so that we all have an understanding of why I'm here and what I'm doing here. So Zimbabwe is a welcoming destination. We talk about our wonderful people and culture that make your experiences outstanding whenever you visit Zimbabwe. And we've got some premier tourist destinations. We have the Victoria Falls, which is very popular when people are looking for adventure and adrenaline. But we also have quite a lot like the Great Zimbabwe for those who want to know more about our history, our heritage and culture. We've got quite a number of national parks. We have 10 national parks for those who are looking for authentic wildlife experiences. And my being here, I'm trying to push the numbers to create awareness about Destination Zimbabwe within the Americas market so that people know what is it that we get to see when we get to Zimbabwe. It's not only Victoria Falls. And I'm also here to spell out the investment opportunities that are in Zimbabwe, because Zimbabwe is a tourist destination. We are underinvested in terms of accommodation. We need to increase our capacity. Zimbabwe is also evolving as a MICE destination, whereby we are experiencing more meetings, incentives, conferencing, and we do not have that capacity. So we are also looking for investment in those areas. And my being here, I know in America, there are quite a number of travel shows that are ongoing. Like recently, I was in New York for the New York Travel and Adventure Show, whereby I was meeting, engaging, and interacting with other exhibitors at that particular show, creating networks, reaching out to travel advisors, because I've realized the travel advisors in America, they've got a say in terms of booking and making bookings and convincing like the market to travel and go to Zimbabwe. So we are here, we are participating at travel shows. We are also hosting trainings for the travel advisors so they know how can they package Zimbabwe, because now people are into multi-destination packaging. Whenever they are going for a vacation, it's not only Zimbabwe, they are doing Zambia, Botswana, South Africa. So this is also why we are here to create the relations with these strategic partners, with airlines. We also want to improve accessibility into Zimbabwe. So my being here is to create those strategic relations. My being here is to create awareness about Destination Zimbabwe and to be present where the market is. Thank you.
No, wow, thank you, Ropa. And you said something very important there around sort of multi-travel destinations. And we've got some folks here from other parts of the continent, and you'll see them introducing themselves in the chat. So we do want to recognize some of our regional leaders and some of the folks who are really helping to galvanize support across the entire region of Africa. Jay, I'm going to come to you now and talk a little bit about, well, I'm curious to hear, what was it like when your first time, right, when you decide to hop on a plane, get into Zim? Where did you land? What was that experience? But the B part to that is I want to talk a little bit about the challenges that that you've experienced and how have you managed to overcome those challenges. You started at 9 folks. You're now at 1,300. And that was from 2017 to 2025. That's not even 10 years yet. And so, you know, that's incredible. So I'd love to hear your thoughts about those pieces.
Yeah, well, I'm going to have to agree that Victoria Falls gets all the accolades, right? And it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. It's continuing to grow. There's amazing resorts. There's amazing wildlife. You can go to Zambia from there. I've been to Botswana. I've been in Namibia. I've been in all those areas, and it's beautiful. But don't forget about the rest of the country. There is amazing. Harare is a beautiful place. My wife and I talk about all the time. I'm fortunate to travel many places throughout the world. The food in Harare is amazing. The restaurants, the five-star restaurants, the steaks, the seafood, the local food. You just can't imagine even traveling in Harare how amazing it is. And the people are wonderful. Quite honestly, they're friendly, very easy to navigate and get around. Maybe the roads could use some improvement. We'll give it credit there. We got to fill some potholes, but I would say that the people are amazing as well. Yeah, I first landed in Vic Falls, so that was my first time to come to Zimbabwe. I landed there. We spent I was with my wife. We spent a couple of days, and then we went to Harare. Now, I will say you can't experience this anymore because it's not there. I landed at the Robert Mugabe Airport. We landed on the domestic side of the airport, and I thought, oh Lord, please tell me it's better than this, because I came off and I think the carousel carrying the luggage was being pulled by a mule and a donkey, and I'm not sure what was going on. It was making a lot of noise. It's not there anymore. Now they actually have an amazing brand new airport, and it is fantastic to be able to arrive. So I saw the old side and I saw the new side of being able to come in. So there is so much to do. There, again, as she mentioned, you can go locally to so many areas. Wild as Life is right by the airport. Just an amazing place to see wildlife and some animals for short periods. And then obviously you can go on game drives or go on safari, and there's so much you can do in the country that is quite beautiful. Challenges, yeah, I don't want you to think that there's challenges that can't be overcome. Just to give you an example, I could walk into a bank. I could walk into Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, and as you know, as an American being from the U.S., you could walk in there and probably 30 minutes later you walk out with a bank account. Right? It's that fast. You can even do it online. I could go online, open a bank account, and you're done. Not the same process in places like Zimbabwe or Zambia. There is a process, right? There's going to be some due diligence. Obviously, the money laundering that happens around the world, they're trying to do that. But that's the same in Costa Rica. It's the same in Zambia. Everywhere we go to open bank accounts, it's very similar. The process to get a business open, to get a limited company, is quite fast. You could have that done with the right contacts in 2 or 3 days. It's not a long process to get that. So very similar, like we might see in Texas or in Atlanta when you open up an LLC or something. That process is pretty fast. I think we recognize that in other places there's just more red tape. To do something, there's more hoops that you have to jump through to get something done. That's where I think the challenges come in. There is a pro-business atmosphere for sure, and people want to help, but I think there's also too many people with their hands out, right? Like, hey, I can help you if you pay me, and you need somebody on the ground who can help navigate that for you. So having a local either law firm, which there's some great law firms, or accounting firms there that can help you, highly recommend that. Look, I do that. We opened up here in Costa Rica. That's where I'm at today. And we did the same thing, right? I went and got a good attorney. I got a recommendation, and they helped me navigate all the nuances. So to do things like that by yourself, if you're a small business, I don't recommend. I would say get somebody that's a trusted advisor. People like Zita can be great advocates to help you get set up. As she mentioned, I'm the chairman for the American Chamber of Commerce Zimbabwe, which was just started a couple of years ago. And we're glad to help. Ivy's on the call, Dudu's on the call. We're happy to help you with some recommendations. We have members of the chamber that are in those fields of accounting, like even big firms like Mazars, which you may have heard of Mazar Forvis. They're a large company. They've got offices in Zimbabwe, and those types of companies can be very helpful, as well as some law firms as well. And then I think you realize, as I mentioned, you're not going to get in your car and travel 55 miles an hour down the highway. There's not that kind of a transportation system, right? The main roads are fine. Coming from the airport is fine. Coming main thoroughfares is fine. Traffic is a disaster. There's people are not very waiting on anybody. So you've got a Jenga puzzle out there sometimes at an intersection, and I'm thankful that I do drive in Zim, but I'm thankful that I don't drive very often because navigating that. So traffic and getting to and from work, having a partner on the ground is what you need. And I don't necessarily mean you had to have a business partner. That probably helps if you have somebody who's invested in your business that you can partner with to help you get going to navigate those challenges. But I can tell you, Zeta has been fantastic to work with. I would highly recommend you contact them before you even take a step. Understand that. We at the American Chamber would love to help you, and Ivy and due to the team, they can help with that. They're both on this call. They can definitely help you with those. And I'm happy to help. I'm happy to have you email me. I put my LinkedIn contact on there. You're welcome to message me if you have some questions. Happy to even get on a call with you or direct you to somebody that can help that as well. And again, just understanding those challenges. I know somebody brought up, we do things. We recently, 2 years ago now, we opened up our own, what we call a wellness center. So we employ 2 full-time doctors and 3 nurses. So that's only for our team. So instead of having to go stand in the queues and go to the doctor and maybe have to, as you know, maybe wait. In Atlanta, I know it's the same way. In Dallas, it's the same way. When I go to the doctor, you don't just walk in, right? You probably are waiting in line to try to get in. We've got no waiting. They can do it on Zoom. So we've tried to create things, and we've done that with scale, right? We didn't do this when we had 300 people either. That came at about, I think it was about 700 or 800 people when we started that. So I think understand the challenges with opening the business, having somebody to help you navigate those, having transportation, understanding the transportation. And then maybe the last thing I would say is our average age is 26 years old. 26 years old is the average age of our team members. Don't expect them to be the most mature individuals. No offense there. They've not worked a lot, right? I mean, when I was 29, I was a disaster, right? I mean, I didn't have the work ethics that I needed. I'm not saying they don't have the work ethics. I'm talking about me personally. I didn't have the work ethics. I didn't have it all figured out. So you do have a very high number of people who are young. But the one advantage there is they're well educated. 96% of our team members have a university degree. And I mean, they're smart. Many of them have 2 degrees or a master's degree or a doctorate in some, economics, business, whatever that may be. So you've got very, very talented, smart people. So I say the last challenge is just a young population. Now, the benefit is, I say this all the time, every country's full of politics, right? We've got politics in the U.S. They got politics there. Everybody has politics. Just stop all the nonsense. It's very political in Zimbabwe. I'm like, well, does anybody live in the U.S. and says it's not very political here? You're out of your mind, right? It's very political everywhere. I would say the advantage to the young people that we employ, and we've got people in their 40s, and it's not like that's just our average age is 26. I would say, you know what they would really like? They would like to have at their home. They would like to have good internet. They would like to have a nice hot cup of coffee, and they would just like to have a job. And so when you understand that, there's also this desire to work. I'll give you some comparisons, and this is why Zimbabwe is great. Rick, our COO, is on the call here. He's been in the outsourcing space now for 30 plus years. He's been with us about 3 years. And he can tell you that the attrition rate in the line of work that we're in, the word I don't like, the outsourcing, the BPO space, that you can see as high as anywhere between 8 and 12% attrition per month, okay? So you just figure, if you got 100 employees, 10 of those are going to quit every month as you go. Our attrition rate is 0.5% for the voluntary attrition, people who are leaving us, 0.5%, which means on an annualized basis, it's about 6.5%. I think it's 0.52, so 6.5%. There ain't anybody on here that can raise their hand if they're in a business with 50 people plus that can say, yeah, our attrition rate's only 6%. It's not happening. It doesn't happen. And so that, yes, we've created a culture. Yes, we've created an environment that people do want to come to work. but also we've got people that want to work. And I think that is a key factor. We don't do any work from home. Everybody comes to our facilities. So it's not like they're working from home. They've got it easy. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Let me add one more thing, Ricardo, about challenges. I'll add that at the end. But for us, having that young, hungry, excited group that wants to work is a major plus. I would say the biggest challenge is in the rural areas. Even today, I've got a few on here from Zim. Pam, I know you could raise your hand. I think there's still right now roughly 9 hours of blackouts that go on each day. There's rolling blackouts. So people in their homes are seeing that, somewhere between 8 and 10 hours a day, they don't have power, right? Unfortunately, most people have power in the middle of the night, which great for sleeping, not great for doing your laundry. So that's in the rural areas, right? Or in the outlying areas. For us in the central business district where we're located, we don't have those issues. Most of the time the power is on, but keep in mind, we have generators, we've got solar power. So if something does happen, we've got that backup available. So I think having a location would be real important to have quality power. And you can get that in a lot of places. You don't have to be in the central business district. There's up in Bordell and Avondale, there's all kinds of areas that you can get that. Having a reliable internet would be those two basic things that you need. Having good, reliable internet, which we do. We've got, there's great companies there. We've got a couple of backups, 3 actually total that would come in. So making sure that wherever you put yourself, you've got reliable internet and you've got power backups. When we first started, we installed our own generators. We still have some of them there, but the buildings we have now have generators and or solar power. So I think those are that may be the biggest challenge, Ricardo, to answer your question kind of in a backwards way is just make sure when you go in, if you're opening a physical business or if your teams are going to work from home, you need to inquire about their setup. Many people have good solar systems at their house. So when power's not on, they've got good battery. But we have it at our house there. We've got a house there that we rent and we install batteries. And so we have power full time. And now with Starlink, that's changed things as well. We have Starlink at our home as well. And so you've got really good, reliable internet. Obviously, Starlink doesn't work for our business. It doesn't have that kind of a capacity. But if you're talking about running 4, 5, 6, 8, even 10 computers, we've tested it, it will do that. So I think that would be some of the challenges as well when you're talking about navigating.
Yeah, well, thank you, Jay. Listen, I think when you started this to talk about the challenges, you said none of the challenges that you were about to share was not like it was not impossible to overcome, and it sounded like this sounds like these challenges happen everywhere, even right here in the United States. So it's nothing uncommon that you're sharing. These challenges do happen, but one thing I do know about challenges, you could flip them into opportunities, right? So I hope folks were taking notes and hearing those specific challenges and how you can actually lean in. You did mention about partnership, which is important to us with Global Opportunities Committee because we've been able to create those partnerships on the ground. I see some of our folks here from the CEO Africa Roundtable, and I want to give them a big shout out because they are essentially our one stop on the ground that says, who do we talk to? Who do we partner with? Here's what we want to do. So if you don't know who the CEO Africa Roundtable is, you'll probably see some of them. I see Tatunda here earlier. He's the economist for CEO Africa Roundtable. Let's get involved and let's begin those conversations. In the next 10 years, we would love to be able to do this call again. And maybe my AI would be hosting it. I don't know. But we would love to hear how you've been able to, like Jim, 10 years ago, started a company because you were here on this call in 2025. You were on the call and it started 35 and you've been able to employ 1,300 people or so in Zim, and you're having a fantastic time. So that's the future that we're actually looking forward to. We're going to switch things up a little bit and we want to recognize—
Hey, Ricardo, just real quick, I would and apologize, CEO Roundtable, we're members of them as well from ZimWorks, and highly recommend them. I've been on some calls and some podcasts with Tatenda, and yeah, you're just going to find that they're a great organization. You can see there's a lot of resources, right? From Zito, which is and then you got CEO Africa Roundtable, you got AmCham. Use those resources, reach out, contact them, have those phone calls. That's how you learn more. And you're right.
Yeah.
Every challenges can, and it's way easier today than it was in 2017. I can assure you that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And these are the core connections that you need to start with. So if you ask, where do we start, Ricardo? We say, start with the connection, reach out. That's your first thing that you need to be able to do. Remember, the hour is going to come, but the power continues. And if you're interested in taking advantage of some of these opportunities, if you're interested in connecting, reach out. And these folks are already making themselves available and are willing to actually help. We usually do a member spotlight in these calls, and we've got two folks we want to spotlight real quick. They've been incredible to the organization. They've been incredible to our committee, and I'm gonna ask Katina Norman from Service Savvy. She's on Becoming Like You, Jim, because she's been building an organization from here in Atlanta with a pool of talent. So Katina, will you come on stage, introduce yourself, talk a little bit about your business, and if you actually have an ask, would you tell us what that ask is?
Thank you, Ricardo. Good morning, everyone. I'm Katina Norman, and I'm the Administrative Coordinator for the Global Opportunities Committee of the Atlanta Black Chambers, and I tend to thrive working behind the scenes with Ricardo, our chairman, and other leaders on the GOC. However, I'm also an entrepreneur. I own Service Savvy LLC, which is a virtual assistance agency, and we specialize in providing administrative, technical, and creative support from a virtual location. Our services include digital marketing, email and calendar management, social media marketing, general business administration, and our mission is to instill confidence in entrepreneurs as they delegate their day-to-day operations. So if you find that you need an assistant, but you don't necessarily have the resources to hire one on a full-time basis, then Service Savvy is the solution for you. I will be dropping my information in the chat if you guys want to connect and learn more. We can be found on the major social media platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, at Service Savvy LLC. And my ask is just that we connect. I am here to build relationships and learn and grow from people I don't know. And so that's basically my ask. I'm here, and if you guys want to connect, I look forward to it. So thank you, Dottie Rai, for inviting me to speak on my business briefly today. And thank you to everyone on the call for taking the time to listen. Thanks.
All right, fantastic. Thank you, Katina. Really awesome business that she's building here. And we like to support each other. I mean, the Atlanta Black Chambers is helping to advance Black businesses, and she's an example of one of the businesses that we work with every single day. There are some events that are coming up, folks. So if you have your calendar nearby, please mark the calendar. Tomorrow, actually, we do have our virtual B2B matchmaking event. So every single month, at the end of the month, we dedicate a day to do virtual B2B matchmaking. See, this is conversations like these are great, but when we actually curate people for you to meet and talk about how you can help, how they can actually help, we feel and realize that we get better outcomes from those experiences. So if you're interested in being a part of those virtual B2B matchmaking, we actually literally were about to turn off the registration, because tomorrow is the matchmaking. We want to make sure everybody puts their business profile in. We want to make sure everybody has an ask. What are you looking for? What are you providing? So that we can allow the system to actually work to do match. So from 8:30 tomorrow to 4:30, we're going to be doing business to business matchmaking all day. This is something we want you to know of the GOC, of the Atlanta Black Chamber. We want you to remember us for. So if I get hit by a bus at 9 o'clock, I mean, it's after 9, so it's not going to happen. We want you to remember that we are really in this to really help you to connect with each other, B2B matchmaking. So that's number one. And number two, Every week, like I said, we do have our Power Hour every Wednesday. The Atlanta Black Chamber has a massive, what we call Tuesday Talk. It's much bigger than this. So if you want to connect with even more businesses from within the Atlanta area and outside of the Atlanta area as well, Tuesday mornings at 8:30, our President Melvin Coleman, he actually hosts an amazing conversation throughout the Atlanta area. So please feel free to join the Atlanta Black Chamber. You can be a part of the Global Opportunities Committee. To do that, you must join the Atlanta Black Chamber. And for those of us who are international, we do have an international membership for you as well. So you can reach out to us and say, hey, I'd like to be a part of this community. I have a business. I'm looking to grow. I'm growth minded, global minded. I want to be a part of what you're doing. So feel free to actually do that. So Ropa, I want to come to you and talk a little bit about some of the advice that you may have for entrepreneurs on here. A lot of our entrepreneurs are in the service business. Some of them are in the travel space. There are a number of wraparound services, I believe, that can support tourism. I want you to probably talk a little bit about those and what sort of advice, if you could give to entrepreneurs, business owners, both from Atlanta and other parts of the region. What sort of advice would you give them in terms of leaning into the opportunities that exist for tourism in Zim?
Okay, maybe just to run down on the opportunities, because I didn't finish that earlier on. We also have an upcoming project, a high impact project that will be happening about 10 kilometers from Vic Falls. That is the Masue project. And it's a special economic zone whereby if investors want to invest in terms of accommodation, in terms of activities, in terms of coming up with a convention center, they've got tax rebates that they get to enjoy. And my advice is if you are interested in investing in Zimbabwe, you have to deal with the authorities. Like we've got the Zimbabwe Tourism Authority, which is the regulatory board in the tourism sector. They know the registered and licensed DMCs that you have to deal with. We also have the Zimpacs. We've got investment opportunities within Zimpacs estates. I mentioned we've got about 10 national parks throughout the country. The Wanke National Park, Gonarijo, Umanapuz, the Eastern Highlands, they all have opportunities for people to come up with accommodation that we offer in Zimbabwe. So if you want to invest in those areas, they offer it. It could be on a lease basis. You have to reach out to Zimpacs. They give you like a profile of the parks and the land that they have. So my advice is to reach out to these licensed agencies that have been put up by the government of Zimbabwe, so that you have your business that is clear and transparent. And also, we also have ZIDA. You've mentioned earlier on about ZIDA for those also who want to invest in Zimbabwe. And also one of the reasons why you should invest our human capital base, I mentioned that earlier on, we are a resilient economy. Yes, we have had our challenges in Zimbabwe over the past years, and the challenges continue, but we are a resilient economy as a country, as a destination. So yeah, this is some of the advice that I can give. And if you want more information, they can log on to our website, the zimbembasdc.org. I will share that with you. They can also log on to zimbabwetourism.net. They can also get a list of the contact details. The land is available. We also have the local authorities that have land that you can reach out to. And in terms of how they can partner, it could be public-private partnerships. They can do joint ventures. This is something that we always advise people to follow. Thank you.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you, Ropa. If you have any questions, ladies and gentlemen, to ask any of our esteemed guests here, please raise your hand or let's put it in the chat. We're going to start taking your questions as the hour is coming up on us. So, Barbara, I wanted to also ask you, what's your advice for the folks here? I think you know a lot more about our members, a lot more about what we're actually doing as a group. And you know who we are as business owners, providers. What's your advice today for those who are listening?
Thank you so much, Ricardo. One of the things I always say, even when I speak to clients, is don't let fear stop you from exploring, right? Just have that mindset, like what JW shared, right? Risk is everywhere, right? And sometimes we read things that are not even happening on the ground. And me being a Zimbabwean and being part of this community, I am a resource to you. So if you reach out, we can have a conversation about things that are happening in Zimbabwe. I am actually on my way to Zimbabwe in May. I'll be in Zimbabwe. I'm invested as well in Zimbabwe. So always take the risk. The risk, if you're a business person, you have to take the risk, right? You build relationships. I was in a call just 2 days ago with Jeff Hoffman. I think some of you know him, the founder of Priceline. One of his biggest advices was, what you need to do, you need to sow those relationships. You have to be on the ground sometimes to really build those, the relationships. And then from there, when people get to know you, you are able to foster the business or whatever partnerships you are looking for. Because it's not just creating a situation where you go in, you do business, but you also want to have that relationship. And that's why tourism is so important. It's part of that ecosystem of building relationships and getting to know communities. So I'm gonna stop here. Are we highlighting Natalie at some point?
Yeah, I've got a message from her, so we're good. We're good. We got a message from her, but I want to take 2 questions, and then I'll come to JW. We want to hear your advice as well to the people here. Jay, Jonel, your hand is up. Your question, if we can limit the questions to probably just one, who you're directing it to, so we can try to get this show out the window before overtime. Jonel, please go ahead.
Yes, I'd like to learn about who we talk to, or if there's any opportunities related to renewable energy programs to invest in Zimbabwe.
All right, who's going to take that? Ropa, will you take that, or Barbara?
Yes, thank you,
Go ahead,
Ricardo.
Ropa.
Yes. You reach out to the Embassy of the Republic of Zimbabwe. We've got ZIDA. We've got our Minister Councillor for Trade and Investment, John Amshai. I'm not so sure if he managed to join in, so he can link you in that area.
All right, fantastic, fantastic.
So if you can send your contact details, then we can reach out to you and probably organize an engagement for you.
Jonelle, I would also say you can also reach out to me. I actually have a huge interest with investors also for energy. So I definitely can connect you with also businesses that are invested in energy as well. So I'll put my information.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Ropa. So Lemran, if I'm pronouncing it correct, please go ahead and unmute. And what's your question? And who are you directing it to?
Puchet. It's Imran. Imran.
Go ahead, Imran. Go ahead.
No, thank you. I will be coming through to Zim on the 13th and 14th to the 15th of Feb. There's a contact center masterclass that Rod Jones is doing into the BPL space as part of the Contact Center Association of Zim. That's the one thing. The second thing is, how do we, I've pasted something into the chat about the multi-generational work that we have. JW, you mentioned, the age of people are graduates, they're young, average between like 21 to 26. And how do we create those partnerships that people thrive in that economy? I want to put my hand up to partner with people in the region and see where that goes. So I have been a bit opportunistic on this call. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Any one of you want to respond to that?
I probably can. Can you rephrase that again, if you would? Or are you asking how to connect with the teams?
Yeah, so I'm saying, how do I people that are currently busy in Zim, how can we step in to facilitate and bridge as part of into the BPO space as consultants that does the work today, both in South Africa, in Joburg, Cape Town, as well in Saudi, how do we create that collective wisdom and springboard the Zim experience? Yeah, so partner JW with individuals, but also with businesses. Thanks.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm a good resource for that personally. You know, we're obviously focused on our business. We're part of some of the groups as well, some of the locals organizations there with OmniContact and some of the other centers that we work with through even through AmCham Zimbabwe. But I would think they may be a better resource through the organization. I have heard about the meeting this month. I believe our country manager will be there as well. So yeah, that may be a good opportunity probably to connect there.
In the CEO roundtable as well, I know there are members that are here. So the CEO roundtable, if you can also share your information with Lemran as well. So that's, again, this is a group of team of businesses that are together. You can be plugged in easily into there. And usually whatever is going on the ground, when it comes to business, they are the ones, you know, organizing those in those spaces. So if we can also have that.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. All right, we'll take one more. Johnny, I see your hand. Your hand is up. Please go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you, Ricardo. I'm asking my question to Ropa. How do you, as the government of Zimbabwe, plan to get involved with the G20 event here in South Africa? B20 is launching in Cape Town next month, and in March we are hosting the African Mayors Conference on Entrepreneurship in Pretoria at the University of South Africa. How do we work through you to get mayors from across Zimbabwe to attend our conference? Those are my two questions to Ropa. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the reaching out. We have representatives in South Africa that can reach out to the mayors through the authorities in Zimbabwe. So what I would appreciate, I've shared my email address. If you can send through the information in regards to that, then I'll share it on your behalf and they can reach out to you. I think it would be a great opportunity for mayors in Zimbabwe to attend. Thank you.
Can you please put it again? I joined late. Please put it again. Please put your email address again. I joined this call late.
All right, fantastic, fantastic. All right, well, thank you for the questions. Jay, we're gonna wrap this show up with you. I want to hear, you know, your advice and perhaps any final remarks for the folks who are listening. We're listening here. We've got all kinds of business on this call, Jay, from very small businesses who are just starting out to others who have employees like yourself. What kind of advice would you give them? The one thing we have in common, we are all interested in growth. We're all interested in global opportunities.
Yeah, I look a little bit what Barbara said. You know, I think if you have a great idea, if you're starting or if you're looking to expand, then you know, fear is one of the worst things that can stifle them. You know, that old false evidence appearing real is quite true. And I think many times you just have to take any opportunity and be willing to fail. I promise you, I've got way more failures than I have successes. And I think be willing, and if you're a new startup or if you're an existing business and you're looking to expand, it's okay to fail at something as well. So I'm a big believer that failure is the greatest determinant to success. And I think you have to have some of those. Unfortunately, if all you have success, it's going to seem easy. And then when it does fail, you're going to have really, really problems. So I just really encourage people to take that step out. And look, we've mentioned, I've even posted a few links. We've mentioned the CEO Roundtable. We've got AmCham Zimbabwe. We've got Zeta. All of those would be organizations that you could reach out to gather a little bit of information. So do your research. It may not be the right fit for you. It may be the right fit for you, but do that research and find people that you can trust to give you some good feedback to.
Fantastic, fantastic. Guys, the hour has come, but the power continues. Your assignment, if I should assign to you, your mission today is to continue the power, continue the conversation. do the honors, reach out, go back to your notes and make the initiative, take the initiative. You cannot have any success without any semblance of failures. And everybody here has agreed to, you've got to mix it up a little bit. You got to fail a little to really appreciate success. So follow us on LinkedIn. Stay tuned. Next week we have our next Power Hour. You don't want to miss that. We're still continuing the learning. We'll be featuring some exciting folks to come and talk again about some of the other opportunities that exist for you. So we will definitely see you on the other side. Feel free to save the chat. If you like, we're just going to be standing up by for a couple minutes before we wind down. But thank you, everyone. JW, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming through. Ropa, thank you, Barbara, for what you do for us. And thanks for everyone who has been on this call. Have a great day, everyone. And don't forget, the power continues. Thank you for joining the Power Hour today, guys.
Thank you. And we hit our first 100. Woohoo!
Thank you.
Yes,
Awesome.
Thank you so much, everyone, for the
Thank you,
support.
everybody. Thank you,
Yes,
everybody.
thank you. Yes,
Thank
yes.
you, everyone. Take care.
Thank you, Natalie. Thank you, Bettina. Thank you,
Yes, bye
everyone.
everyone. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Zim. Thank you, Zim.
Thank you.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
thank you so much,
Fantastic,
JW.
fantastic,
Thank
guys.
you.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Fantastic. Good day, everyone. Good day. Good day. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Awesome. 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 Make sure you all save the chat. Thank you, everybody. All right. All right. Another one. All right. That one is down in the books.
Good job,
Yes.
everyone. That was
All
great.
right.
Yes,
All
Good
right.
that
one.
was
Solid one.
amazing.
Solid one.
Yeah, yeah.
All
Well,
right.
now
So
now I
we're on
want
to
my
the next.
trophy.
We're on to the next. We're on to the next. So we're on to the next. So you'll keep it going, guys. We'll keep it going.
Yes, yes,
All right.
yes. Thank
All right,
you.
guys. Did everybody save the chat? I think I hung around long enough. We're gonna plug out here.
Can I save? Sorry, I didn't. Oh gosh.
Yes,
I
if you
didn't
haven't,
do
go
it.
ahead and save
If you
so
don't
we can.
mind. Yeah, because yeah, sometimes I'm not good at multitasking.
You could probably stop the recording too.
Yeah.